Hey guys, it's Carissa and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Inky Fairy Designs. This month I am guest designing over at 7 Kids Crafting Supply Store, and I am going to show you how I created this card. Now I pulled out my Crystal Color Brusho Watercolors. Now these are they're like crystal watercolors or powder watercolors, and I pulled out 3 colors to just start out my background. Now, the really cool thing about these watercolors and why I particularly pulled them out for this project is because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just wanted to create a really fun, beautiful, colorful background, and I knew I was going to be using these really kind of mystical fairy stamps by Lavinia stamps. And so these Brusho watercolors are awesome because you can see I sprayed my watercolor paper and then I sprinkled the watercolor or the powder on top, and that water activates the powder or the crystals or whatever. And the awesome thing is that, as you know probably, a lot of our watercolors are made up of several different pigments. And in the Brushos, you can actually see those pigments separate and create different pops of colors that you might not be expecting when you look at, say, violet, or you look at, say, turquoise like I'm using. And when I brushed on or I powdered on or tapped on the turquoise, you saw bits of yellow and bits of blue and green, and all of those colors together make that beautiful turquoise, but you can actually see it kind of separate. Now it's cool like that, and I love using it like that to kind of start anything, but I also I didn't want the powders to just stay there on my page, kind of just like if they just activate with the water, you spray the water on them, sometimes they just they'll burst into different colors, but you'll still see like the little dots of the powder, and I didn't want that on my background, so I just took a watercolor brush or a water brush at this point and was kind of blending those blending that color around, blending them together, and then you'll see I'll tap on a few more colors, I'll spray some more water on my paper, and then I'll keep moving it around until I'm pretty happy with it. And then this kind of becomes a background or the start of kind of the scene that my fairies will later be stamped on. So I wanted to, I definitely like to heat set or dry in between the different layers. And here you can see I'm trying to pick it up and oops, it fell down on my desk, but that's okay. It actually fell in those pools of color that were kind of falling off the edge, and created some new texture. And then once I dried it, I still had some extra color left on my desk, and I just tapped around different areas on my card and picked up some of that color just to create some more texture and depth and different shades and like that. So I heat set that, and then like a lot of watercolors, the Brushos will also kind of react with the water, in that I can sprinkle some water on there and then lift up the color with a paper towel. So you'll see here I put the paper towel down, and you'll see bits of water splots or water spots left behind. And that just creates a really cool, interesting texture. It adds to that really beautiful background. And at that point, I was really happy with it. Still not sure where it was going yet, but I knew I was going to be using these fairy stamps, and I'm sure you want to know what they're called. They're by Lavinia stamps. 7 Kids carries them. They're a UK-based stamp company, photopolymer, and this one is called Dancing Till Dawn, and I totally didn't know that was the name of the stamp set, I promise. I'm actually looking at it right now, and I think that is like so fitting for where this card ended up going. So I stamped it, I pulled out my Misty, and I love using my Misty when I have like a silhouette stamp, or a stamp that's completely filled in, and I'm stamping it on a watercolor textured back paper. So I like to use my MISTI for that because you can see I had to stamp it multiple times, and even with a clear stamp, you just won't get that precision stamping over and over and over without a stamping position tool like that, like the MISTI. So once I had my fairy stamped on there, and I did use the Sukaneko, oh my goodness, what's it called? VersaFine Onyx Black. That's one of my favorite inks to stamp with and watercolor with, but it gives me that really crisp black image. So I love using that for like these silhouette detail kind of stamps. So here I am, and I thought, oh, I can't just have the fairies like, floating on this background that I created. So I wanted to give them some ground to stand on, just give them some place to be. And at first I was really, I was so conservative with it. Like I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. But what you can see is I pulled out one of my little petal palettes, and I actually sprinkled some of the Brusho that I used on the background. I pulled in 2 new colors. I pulled in black and purple. That purple is in the middle, and it's so pretty the way it separates into like magenta, and oh my gosh, I haven't used these Brushos in probably, oh my gosh, you guys know me. I have lots of art supplies that I don't use, and I'm so embarrassed. I probably haven't used these for like 3 years, but they are great. Like it's a powder, so it's not going to go bad. So I will definitely be pulling these out again, and I'd love to hear your guys' comments, and if you've used these types of watercolors before, what do you think about kind of like the powder crystal watercolors, and if you'd like to see more projects with me using them. I'm dying to kind of use them in an art journal page and kind of just create like a really pretty background like I did on my card. But anyway, so I pulled out those colors, and I was being very conservative here. I wanted to give the fairies some shadow. They are a silhouette, but I wanted to give them just a little bit of a shadow. Just on the left side, I only do a little bit of that purple color, and it really blends into the background a little bit, but you can still see it once it dries. It still adds a nice little shading around them, kind of gives them more depth, makes them pop off the page a little bit more. And so you'll see I'll kind of add a little bit more ground under them. I'm really still being super conservative. Like once you see the end, you'll see, like once I realized that I just wanted them to be in this beautiful like twilight kind of sky. That's kind of where it ends up going. So I sprinkle in some more of the different colors. I just tap it on. I tap on some clean, clear water as well, and just adding a little bit more texture to that background, giving it some more life. At this point, I'm really envisioning like it's a night sky that my fairies are dancing under, and that just made me so happy. So here's where I come in. This is another Lavinia stamp. I think it's like the mini star stamp. And I just used a white pigment ink to add a little bit more texture, some more stamping on my background, adding the stars of the night sky. And I do this all around just kind of randomly. And I really, really liked the way that it looks, because you can kind of twist and turn the star stamp so that it's not all, facing the same way. It really makes it very organic looking. And then I kind of messed up a little bit and got some of the ink from my block on there, but I was able to rub it away with my finger. And because it's a pigment ink, I did heat set it before I moved on to the next step. And I hope you guys are enjoying this like totally real-time video. I am doing a voiceover, but I didn't speed up the process at all, because this card really did not take very long to create, at least for the background and everything. And even when I die cut it and put it on a card, it really does not take that long. So I wanted to just keep it in real time and let you guys see it all come together and see how you know, something like this is very simple to create and maybe inspire you guys to either create cards, mixed media cards like this, or take this same technique and put it in your art journals, because I know that's what I want to do now. So I came in with my favorite paint marker, the Posca, Posca paint marker in white, and I'm adding the little stars that you guys know I love, because at this point, like I said, I knew this was going to be a night scene, and I just wanted all of those twinkling stars in the background. You guys see me do this a lot on my mixed media pages when I'm just mark making on them, and it was nice to kind of bring that texture element into this card. I usually separate like my art journaling mixed media kind of techniques from my card making, because you'll see me do more like coloring on my cards with like Copic markers or watercolors. But yeah, this was really fun to make, and I think it just really turned out really nice. So here you can see I finally just colored in that whole bottom like third of the card, created some little very abstract trees in the background for the fairies, added some more white dots for additional stars in the sky, and then I added a sentiment from my Tim Holtz sticker book that says "See possibility everywhere," because these fairies are just magical, and I've always had a soft spot for them. You might be able to guess that from my name. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you aren't already a subscriber, just click on my face. You can subscribe right there and get notified when I have new videos coming out. I'll put on some other videos here, some other watercolor, maybe card making videos for you to check out. And I'm excited. All of the supplies will be listed below for you guys. And I will be back with more projects for 7 Kids Crafting Supply Store later this month. Thanks for watching. Bye.